Hello and welcome to your very first video of the year, our first video in a flipped classroom. In this video, I'm going to call it How to Watch a Video About Math. So we are going to go through an example together, as I've already mentioned, about how to take notes and how to watch a video about math, because this is very different from what you're used to. To get us started, we are going to look at a topic that you learned in Algebra 1. We are going to learn how to solve an absolute value inequality. And the first example that we are going to do let's solve the 3, let's do 3 times the absolute value of x minus 5 is less than 18. Alright, well first of all, when we are solving an inequality, just forget about the absolute value for a second. When we are solving an inequality, we basically go through the same process that we solve the equations. We need to get x by itself. Well, in this case, the first thing we need to do is to divide by this 3. Okay, so I divide both sides by 3, and that leaves me the absolute value of x minus 5 is less than, well, 18 divided by 3 is 6. So at this point, we're in good shape. Things are looking pretty good. I can't just add 5 to both sides, though, because I have these absolute value bars here. So let's take a break for a second and remember what absolute value means. Absolute value is talking about the distance away from 0. So what this problem really means, the absolute value of x minus 5 is less than 6. What this really means is what is less than 6 away from 0. And to kind of help illustrate my point here, I'm going to draw a number line with a 0 being at the center. Where are we less than 6 away from 0? Okay, we're less than 6 away from 0 at any of these points along our line until we get here. Because now we are exactly 6 away from 0. We can't equal 6, we have to be less than 6 away. So remember how we symbolize that with an open circle? Anything further to the right, does that work? No, because anything over here, we are further than 6 away from 0. So that's not going to work. Okay, let's go to the left. These all work until we get here. Negative 6 is exactly 6 away from 0. That doesn't work. So if you visualize this, our solutions are between negative 6 and 6. We can write this as a compound inequality, which you guys practice quite a bit in Algebra 1. So again, the reason that I can write this as a compound inequality, the reason I know that these are the values I'm looking for, is because absolute value is talking about our distance from 0. And we have to think about, okay, where are we less than 6 away from 0? And it's any of these points. All right, so how do we write our compound inequality? We could write this two different ways. one way. I'm going to look at one chunk at a time. If I look at this little part here, this stuff, this x minus 5, I'm looking at the points to the right here. X minus 5 is greater than negative 6. And since it's between, this is an and inequality. So x minus 5 has to be greater than negative 6, and x minus 5 also has to be, if you look at the second chunk here, less than positive 6. You also could have written this as a single compound inequality, where you had like x minus 5. Negative 6 is less than x minus 5. Less than positive 6. Either way works. But whatever you used to get x by itself, we add 5 to both sides. So x is greater than negative 1. Add 5 to both sides and less than 11. Or here, if we add 5 to each side, we get the same thing. Negative 1 is less than x. Less than 11. So either way, x is between negative 1 and 11. There is our solving an absolute value inequality.